You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687. 8687.
We believe in the American way, and we built this country called the USA, and we fly our flag because we're proud and free, we're Americans. Red, white, and blue is our way of life. We never back down from a challenge or a fight. Nature provides, God gives the rights, we're Americans. We fish the waters and we hunt the lands. We forge the steel with our own two hands. With what we've got, we do the best we can. We're Americans.
This is Rio of Madison Rising, and you're listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
It's time now for the Conservative Curmudgeon Radio Show. Now, here's Grouchy.
Thank you. Appreciate you being here. I had to set my own glass up tonight. Gave Seymour the night off so he could attend the Donkey Farm Christmas party. And, that's just Seymour and his business. So what he does is his own thing. We got a great show lined up for tonight. Very special guest, Aggie Rican, going to be joining us a little later in the program. We're going to finish out the Holiday Traditions little mini-series we've been doing here for the past few weeks. Before we get rolling good tonight, I know Rick's busy behind the scenes right now, but I'm going to get him to help me out here because I know coming up next is Jesse's POV.
Yep.
And are we still following with Stafford voice behind that?
Actually, Stafford is on hiatus right now, so we actually have a double shot of just his POV coming up after your show. So there'll actually be two back-to-back shows.
A double shot of POV. So you get POV squared, and then you get America off the... No, you don't get America off the rails because you already got that, if you're smart anyway. See? I caught myself, Rick. I caught myself.
I was about to correct you, but you did good.
Yeah, well, got to do something anyway. Okay, look, so before we get rolling, a couple things happening in the news that we're not going to be delving into deeply tonight. The big Amtrak derailment out west, they've come out and said speed was definitely an issue, moving 80 in a 30 mile per hour zone on a new track that did not get a lot of test runs. Very scary. Very sad. People hurt, people killed. Keep those folks in your prayers. Other big news around the country. The Salvation Army received a $200,000 check in one of their kettles that they collect change in outside a store. Anonymous donor dropped a $200,000 check into the red kettle. God bless you. That goes a long way with Salvation Army. Something else that came up today, we had tax reform basically is a done deal now. And a bunch of companies that are going to benefit from this actually came right out and said, we're going to give our people pay raises. And AT&T was the first to jump. Of course, this is something that the political left said would never happen if these corporations were given millions and millions and millions of dollars back. But AT&T, Boeing, Wells Fargo, Comcast all jumped forward and talked about how they were upping charitable contributions and that they were going to give their employees pay raises as well. So, here's to them stepping right up and doing the right thing. And, that's got to mean a lot to employees. You may not get anything before Christmas because, it's just happening right now, but you got to know it's coming. So there it is. What else do we have going on? Well, here we go. Let's kick it off. We got employment numbers. November added 228,000 jobs. The unemployment remained at a 17-year low of 4.1%. And the report also showed that on average, weekly paychecks increased by 3.1% over the last 12 months. I wish I could get in on some of that action. I'd like a little 3% bump right about now. The first time that reading has topped 3% in 7 years. That's pretty good. Much of the gain came from Americans working longer hours. Average hourly pay increased 2.5%. You can attribute some of that to the holiday hours and the holiday pay. The more modest rise in the hourly pay is disappointing, especially in light of the unemployment rate being this low. Wages should be going up because there is a record number of unfilled job openings and employers complaining about difficulty in finding workers. Now, I don't know where this is happening because I know plenty of people here that are still looking for work, but maybe those jobs aren't here. So I don't know. Like I said, I'd just like to know where it's happening. Typically, when unemployment is low, wages rise faster because employers have to pay more to find or keep the workers that they want, the better workers. 10 years ago, before the start of the Great Recession, as it's now been historically dubbed, the average hourly wage was rising at a better than 3% clip. Other readings in the report showed a healthy labor market, including the fact that those working part-time because they couldn't find full-time jobs decreased. The White House celebrated the strong report and credited its economic policies for the solid showing. We're especially pleased to see the manufacturing sector roaring back to life, adding a total of 159,000 jobs since President Trump took office, after averaging a loss of more than 1,000 jobs per month during the last year of the previous administration. Hard to argue with statistics. Sarah Sanders, the press secretary, said, as we continue to unleash the American economy from unnecessary regulation and taxes, we look forward to seeing more reports like this, showing a healthy and thriving jobs market for the American people. Now, a number of key industries were busy hiring: manufacturing, healthcare, construction. Temporary help services added about 18,300 jobs, a good sign since employers often bring on temporary workers before adding permanent positions. Even some battered sectors, such as retail, reported strong growth as retailers added 18,700 beyond their normal seasonal hires, and the best month for the sector since last January. The jobs report echoes other signs of strength. The economy grew 3.3% in the most recent quarter, the best in quite a while, and the stock market is, of course, at record levels. Now, something I want to touch on here. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the unemployment rate for Black Americans is the lowest it has been since the year 2000. In November, the national average, or the national unemployment rate for Black Americans ages 16 and over was 7.3%. Now, the month before, it dropped to 7%. So I don't know where the 0.3 differential in 1 month went, but, bear with me here. We're going to go with the latest numbers, 7.3. The last time it was 7.3% was in the year 2000 during the months of September, October, November. During the Bush and Obama years, the Black unemployment rate fluctuated between 7.7% and a high of 16.8% seen under the Obama administration. Back in September, that rate was down to 7%, a low that had not been seen since April of 2000. Prior to that, going all the way back to 1972, the Black unemployment rate never fell below 7% and was largely in the double digits throughout the 70s, 80s, and 90s. This is proof that the economic policies are working for everybody. When the employment numbers go down across the board for all demographics, for all races, the policies are working. Now, does that mean I'm on the train honking the horn? No, it doesn't. But it's hard to argue with facts. So while you think on that, we're going to press on. And we're going to talk about something that's a little more unpleasant. The NFL. Yeah. You know what I mean, the football league. Yeah, the National Football League. Yeah, I say that like I don't know. I know what it is. They announced that they're going to begin hosting an advocacy in sport workshop at Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia, to educate athletes on how to develop and implement effective advocacy programs that positively impact society. Do you think they're feeling the pressure, the economic pressure of all the empty seats in their stadiums week in and week out while their national anthem protests go on? Do you think that they're getting pressure from the television networks that are seeing their shares drop? So anyway, in conjunction with the Ross Initiative in Sports for Equality and Morehouse College, the February 21st through 23rd workshop will teach student athletes how to turn sports into a powerful platform for advocacy, said NFL Executive Vice President of Football Operations Troy Vincent. Sport has been an international venue for social change since before Jesse Owens swept the 1936 Olympics and opened the world's eyes to the image of justice and equality. So they go on to say that this historic workshop is aimed at training the next generation of athletes who wish to use sport as a powerful platform for advocacy. The partnership is designed to equip athletes as influencers and community leaders with the mechanics to develop their advocacy platform. Now, it's so funny because how many thousands or hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people kept telling Kaepernick to quit the whining and put your money where your mouth is. Now, hopefully that's what this program is going to teach these young men to do. You know, if you want to advocate a change, being a whiny, pissy pant little bitch is not the way to do it. Excuse me. I know we're supposed to stay PG-13, but had to get that one out there. So anyway, it's just not the way. The workshop's curriculum is being created by social activists, academics, and professional athletes and sport administrators in order to equip athletes with the tools and resources to impact social issues respectfully and responsibly. Now, we covered the acronym before above. They call in the program RISE, which is the Ross Initiative for Sports, or in Sports for Equality. CEO Jocelyn Benson said, at RISE, we believe that harnessing the unifying power of sports and empowering athletes to be effective advocates can improve race relations and drive social progress in our country. Now, students selected to participate in the workshop will also take a winter term course called Psychology, Sport, and Social Justice to be taught by Dr. David Wall Rice, an associate professor of psychology. Yeah, you may know that name. Anti-Trump advocacy by other Morehouse professors made national news earlier this year. Adjunct Professor David Dennis Jr. declared that New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady's support of Donald Trump is a greater threat to the country than the NFL player protests of the national anthem. Of course, Professor Dennis doesn't have anything to back that claim up, just that he finds it that disturbing. The fact of the matter is that Brady's Trump endorsement was largely ignored, and most people don't really care. Later, in a piece for New York Daily News, Professor Dennis accused Trump and the nation of fostering racism, which is ridiculous. Again, saying that he said President Trump and his presidency are symptomatic of the system or systemic racism plaguing this country. Of course, he doesn't say how he is symptomatic. Of course, you'll remember back in January, another Morehouse College professor and CNN commentator, Mark Lamont Hill, resorted to racial slurs against fellow blacks who met with President Trump to discuss diversity. On an episode of CNN Tonight, Hunt called members of Trump's diversity team, quote, mediocre Negroes. And, Hill referred to them as the same. And in particular, Bruce Lavelle. And this is just ridiculous. These people are saying they're going to be the ones that drive social change. These people that are promoting racism against their own race. It's insanity, folks. The characterization, which includes Pastor Darrell Scott. Yeah, Pastor Darrell Scott's also a mediocre Negro. Yeah. And television host and comedian Steve Harvey, too, apparently mediocre as a black man. It came during a panel discussion with host Don Lemon on CNN Tonight. And the quote was, here we go, it was a bunch of mediocre Negroes being dragged in front of TV as a photo op for Donald Trump's exploitative campaign against black people. And you're an example of that, Hill said to Lavelle. Ridiculous. If you're going to foster racism against your own race, at least be credible with it. At least have something to back your claim up instead of just standing there pouting and whining because your candidate lost an election. That's what it boiled down to. Now, we were going to talk about Vice President Pence canceling his trip to Israel and Egypt this week to stay in Washington for the vote on the tax bill. Apparently, his vote was not needed. I don't know if he'll be putting the trip off still or, whatever. They haven't announced. But, tax reform, folks, it's here. According to the left, we're all going to die between tax reform, net neutrality being reversed, and people giving pay raises and Americans getting to keep more of their hard-earned money in their pocket. We're all dead. We're all going to die. So, bring out your dead, as they say in Monty Python's Holy Grail. Bring out your dead. We got the cart. It is what it is. They're saying February we should start seeing this now. Bam, there it is. It's done deal. So what we have to touch on next, and we won't get to do it fully, is Trump's national security strategy. And again, this is going to be hard to breeze through so quick, but we're going to give it a shot here, and then this will be the last thing before we hit the break, and then we'll be joined by Aggie in just a few minutes. So, President Trump's newly released national security strategy is a pleasantly centrist document. Essentially a well-written amalgam of mainstream foreign policy principles that could have almost as easily emerged from a Hillary Clinton White House if she weren't so extreme globalist now, but old Hillary maybe. Despite a couple of outlying aspects, the 4 pillars of the document reflect traditional ideas of international relations and are hard to argue with for the most part. Protect the homeland, column 1. Promote American prosperity, column 2. Preserve peace through strength, column 3. And advance U.S. influence, column 4. I think that's pretty stable. And to really appreciate the abnormal normalcy of this document, just reflect back to the Trump campaign of 2016. NATO was deemed obsolete. We were going to literally charge our allies fees for protecting them. Japan and South Korea were told to consider obtaining nuclear weapons. Russia was going to be a great friend and ally, and we were headed toward 40% tariffs on Chinese and Mexican goods and possibly a global trade war. Isolationism was a word often used to describe the trajectory of candidate Trump's rhetoric. Fortunately, other than the big, beautiful wall, a concept that is still mythic in its status, we'll say. I know there are wall samples that are being erected, but again, there's no funding in place for a wall yet. I don't know. A lot of countries use walls effectively to keep undesirables out. I'm not saying we should or shouldn't. I'm just saying that, what the heck? We could build the wall with a lot of cutbacks that our government could really afford to make and still have plenty of money left over. Just saying, it could be a viable option. I don't see it happening. Whatever. So at the heart of this new strategy is a resolutely international outlook, it seems. This includes a reliance on allies and partners, an adoption of principled realism, as they're calling it, and concern over what might be termed a tripolar competition between the U.S., China, and Russia. The document correctly reflects the return of dangerous levels of great power rivalry and sketches a fairly compelling approach to dealing with the challenges of a rapidly expanding China. It acknowledges the continuing danger posed by Islamic fundamentalism, calls for strengthening borders and sharing intelligence aggressively, and it accurately identifies the threat from authoritarian regimes such as North Korea and Iran. Now, strangely lacking by comparison with the criticisms of China is the sense of any similar plan for Russia. Here we see the ongoing ambivalence, presumably of the president himself, toward Russia in general and Vladimir Putin in particular, especially in light of the two chummy phone calls of the last few days. Trump thanking Putin for praising him at his annual press conference, and Putin thanking Trump for counterterrorism intelligence that stopped a bombing in Russia. I know Trump has made the comments before about wanting to be allies with them. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe not allies, but maybe there are some areas that the United States and Russia could work together on while not seeing eye to eye on everything. I can get that, okay? But let's not make it into some kind of bromance or something like that, because I don't think we're ever going to get to that point. So anyway, it is what it is. And, the strategy, it's distinctly got a geoeconomic feel to it. There's an emphasis on cracking down with chronic trade abuses and a pursuit of leadership in research, technology, and innovation. One odd new note is a call for energy dominance, which I kind of like that. I mean, some people would call that ill-considered and somewhat undefined. But I think that strikes a tone with allies and opponents alike. I think they need to know that we're going to pursue energy dominance in the world, whether it be our own oil, whether it is using electricity better, whether it's using solar or wind better. I don't see any reason why the United States couldn't be energy dominant. So it begs the question of why the U.S. pulled out of the Trans-Pacific Partnership, but it shouldn't beg that question because the answer is obvious. It's a good example of the fundamental tension in the document between a world in which the U.S. leads and a desire to retreat from entangling relationships in the trade sphere. And it also augurs badly for the success of the NAFTA renegotiation. And NAFTA does need to be renegotiated. It was not a great deal for the U.S., and Trump hits on that. And, a lot of people disregard him because of buffoonery in other areas. But, folks, let me tell you something. He's not all wrong on this trade stuff. You got to listen. So anyway, that's kind of where we are. Like I said, we won't have time to go into all of this. This goes on for a few more minutes. And, we won't get to talk about the Nikki Haley vote at the UN, the veto vote that she laid the boom down on the UN over. But we're about to break for commercial. And when we come back, I'm hoping that we have Aggie on the line, and we are going to wrap up the little mini-series of holiday traditions right here with your favorite Grouch on KLRN Radio. So do yourself a favor and stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Oh, but ain't that America? You and me. Ain't that...
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq, Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We are cruising right along. Little programming reminder that you get Jesse's POV squared coming up right after me tonight, and then I don't know what comes on later. Rick, do we have anything in the late slot now?
No, not currently.
Not currently, because Rick went early, so Rick is before me now instead of much later in the night. Anyway, it's all good. You got 2 hours of Jesse coming up. You're going to like it. So anyway, we're going to continue on tonight with our Holiday Traditions mini-series, and I hate that I actually got blocked out of doing another show last week, so please forgive me. We left you with a very fine, high-quality replay of when Jennifer joined us to discuss her holiday tradition, and that was a fantastic show. I hope you enjoyed it if you missed the live one. Tonight, we are going to be joined by one of my favorite tweeps, Aggie Regan.
The whole wide world is filled with chairs. My name's DMC with the mic in my hand, and I'm chilling and cooling just like a snowman. So open your eyes, lend us an ear. We want to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year!
Welcome to the show, Aggie.
Thank you.
And as
Is that
I
not
said,
the best Christmas song ever?
So great. There are probably thousands of people right now with their jaws dropped, and once they get them picked up, they'll hit Twitter and they'll start hitting you up, wanting to know how you ended up with that for an intro song.
Well, it's really I have to give the hat tip to a mutual friend, Chester Copperpot Dunscotus, because he was the one that suggested. And when he did, he was like, yeah, I was like, well, of course that's my song, because he knows I'm a big time diehard freak. I mean, if I could marry Bruce Willis right now, I totally would. But I don't know. He picked some other chick, whatever. So
His loss.
Yeah, totally. I've told him every single time he sends that restraining order. I keep telling him, but he just does not believe me.
Some people just never learn. They just never, ever learn. But anyway, yeah, I love the song. It was great. And for those of you who didn't recognize it, it's Christmas in Hollis by Run DMC. You can go YouTube it now and listen to the whole thing. It's great. Nothing like old school rap. Anyway, we brought Aggie on tonight because Aggie has holiday traditions that we want to talk about. And I'm going to basically kick this thing off with one simple question, and I'm going to leave it to Aggie to entertain the fire out of us tonight. Aggie, tell us about your traditions and what makes them so great.
Well, we have, we're Hispanic, so we have a ton of traditions, but there's two. One that we still do, even though all of my mom's kids are spread throughout the country. And that one is really a charity tradition. And then there's another tradition that we used to do when I was growing up in Puerto Rico. That was more of a neighborhood tradition. And that was, it was more to gather the entire neighborhood in the holiday spirit, so to speak, and an excuse to get everybody drunk. But it worked. It was fun.
It was fun. So let's talk about the charity first. Let's do this one first.
Well, it all started with my mom. When she decided to get her master's in social work, she worked with a lot of people that were senior citizens, and she noticed that a lot of the families that came to visit the senior citizens in the nursing homes and the hospices didn't have a lot of money because most of the money went to paying for the nursing home. So around Christmas time, she wanted to make something really nice for those families, and she would gather, donations and whatever, and she would have like gifts of money for them so that they could buy something for their kids. And she expanded that through the church, and she got us involved. And basically every year she sends us, it's kind of like Tiffany's Angel Tree, but she sends us the information from one child, and we go out and we buy a couple of outfits for the child that we got and some toys, and we also send grocery gift cards so that the parents can actually have a Christmas dinner and celebrate after church. And my sisters and myself, we all do that, and she gets quite a lot of people involved back home. And it's something that is easily doable because you can mail it out. And usually
Absolutely.
We mail out stuff around Thanksgiving, right after Thanksgiving, so that she has time to start distributing. She calls herself Santa Claus's social secretary, and she even wears an ugly sweater. She's really into it. So
well, that's really good though. I like that. I definitely you alluded to Tiffany's Angel Tree. I love the charitable fashion. And Jen's tree. I mean, the whole thing. It all goes back to charitable and community work.
Yeah.
And I feel that's very important around the holidays. So that's a lot of big fun. Now, this is something you guys still do?
Yeah, we do. Usually my mom comes up here for Thanksgiving, so she always drags us shopping anyway. So we go and we shop, and since we already have the information, I used to work Black Friday. I don't ever want to shop on Black Friday, but this is my mom, so of course I'm going to go.
Of course you are.
And so we get everything all done. And, I even buy Christmas wrapping paper so that she can wrap it, and everything. She has time to do all that. But most of the time, if I'm running late, I'll wrap it all myself, and I'll let her know what's in it. And that way her curiosity is at least satisfied somewhat.
Well, that's good. I mean, I like that. That's good stuff. Anything extra that goes with this, or is that pretty much that one little one wrapped up, or?
Well, as far as that, since I no longer live back home, I don't get to help her distribute or anything like that. Right. But she has her own little elves that actually wants to distribute the gift cards to either Walmart or H-E-B or some grocery store or whatever. The grocery stores also have a tradition of putting some stuff like together to buy as a complete meal, and the elves, let them know about that, and they go get it and all that stuff. And if they need anything extra, the church usually chips in and does that too. There are some times that they don't have a place to actually hold their Christmas dinner, so the church opens the doors to their parish hall and have a big dinner there instead.
That is fantastic. Now that's what a church is for. I mean, I'm sorry if a church can't do that at the holidays, I mean, that would be heartbreaking to me. That's good.
It's really funny because I can honestly say I've never seen the doors locked at my church back home ever, and I don't live in the, I don't want to say safest, but I mean I'm very near the Texas border, so it really is, and it's impressive that the church still does that, stays open all the time.
I like that. That's the way a church should be. Okay, so now we have another tradition that you guys used to do. Now we want to take this one a little bit slow, and we want all the details on this one because this one sounds like it's a lot of fun.
It is a tremendous amount of fun. I remember when I was little participating in this, and it literally takes hours. And it's called a parranda. And a parranda basically means I guess it means a big musical festivity of some sort. And it usually takes place in the neighborhood, usually one street. All of the homes in one street will participate. And they take turns being house number one. And what that means, the house number one is going to be the host of the parranda. The house to the right of it becomes house number two, and so forth and so on, and then down the rest of the street. And the way it starts is the people of house number one will have all of the desserts and more booze ready, but you do not partake. What happens is the people of house number one...
Hey, hang on. Hey, there's booze and you don't partake?
No, there's booze at every house. So the people of house number one. Now. Yeah, well, believe me, it makes sense once I explain.
Okay, well, continue.
So basically, house number one, the hosts, start off, and they go caroling, to house number two. And house number two opens its doors, and we go in and we enjoy a little appetizer of some sort, and a little bit of coquito, usually. Coquito is a Puerto Rican-style eggnog.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. It's rum-based. Then normally they serve shots because you're going through about 10 or 12 houses, so you want to pace yourself. But there's some people that take more than one shot, when they're there. And then you move the people. Yeah, well, then you move the people, house number one and house number two congregate and go outside to house number three and serenade them. And people bring their musical instruments. There's a lot of people playing guitar, a lot of people, bongos, guidos, maracas, you name it. They'll take them with them, and they will serenade the house. Yeah, and then they partake in the next house. And usually about house number 5, house number 6 has the big meal, and the big meal usually consists of pasteles, which is a Puerto Rican style tamale, and alcapurrias, and all sorts of Puerto Rican carne asada, carne guisada, even gandinga. Oh God, that was awful. Gandinga is a liver stew, and I'm Puerto Rican, but I hate it. I have hated it since I was 2 years old, and I will hate it until I die. But neither here nor there. Anyway, and so forth and so on, and until, basically the entire neighborhood is outside house number 1, and everybody's singing, everybody's dancing, and that's when you serve the dessert. The year that my parents were hosts, my mom made, I want to say, she used about 3 stock pots to make arroz con dulce. And there were 12-quart stock pots. And she also made tembleque, which is a coconut custard.
Yes, it is.
And, we do a lot of coconut in Puerto Rico, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and there was more coquito. She had her homemade coquito. And my dad, being practical, also served rum and Coke and more rum.
Of course.
So, yeah, so these parrandas can take anywhere from 4 to 6 hours on average to do. But my dad was telling me that the town has now started enforcing like a curfew when it comes to parrandas, because last year one of them got out of hand, and they had to call the cops. Only the cops were already partaking in it, so they didn't have to call anybody. They just spread word of mouth. So
hey, you got like that.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. When your neighbor's a cop and he's telling you, hey, maybe we should cut back on the rum, but pass the bottle over here because I'm not done with it.
There you go. I like that. So you end up with basically Woodstock in house number 1's front yard with clothes on instead of off.
Yes.
They're singing, they're dancing, they're drinking. Who knows what else is going on? I'm sure that none of the fine people of the PR have ever lit up anything illegal to smoke or anything like that. So we know that.
Never. We don't even know what you're talking about.
Of course not. Of course not.
No, but the year that my parents hosted, they had, I think the parranda ended around 5:30 in the morning, and they started around 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
And this is on Christmas Day, or is this like a week before?
No, they actually do it like about a week before, 10 days before, because there are several parrandas, not just one. You can be invited to others.
You can.
So, but we lived in the boondocks, so we only had like 10 houses to worry about.
Oh.
But we were the last ones in the street, so it made sense for us to host. Besides, we had like my dad had the house we had like half an acre with it, so there was a lot of room for people to be there and enjoy. And we were away from town, so we could be as loud as we wanted to, and it was great. I mean, I think that was the only time in my young life that my parents let me stay up until I passed out at, I think it was 3 o'clock in the morning. But it was fun. I still remember it. It was a lot of fun.
I love that idea. We should start that here in the States.
It would be great. I would totally be on board with this.
Yeah. I mean, I
have my mom's coquito recipe.
Yeah. I was going to say, I can think of about 20 or 30 people on Twitter that we could put a parranda together and just have a heck of a good time.
Oh, I am sure. Yeah, my mom was actually teasing my dad about starting one in our neighborhood back home. My dad looked at her and said, then I will be vacationing in Puerto Rico. Of course, he can't really say that now because of what happened with the hurricanes. and him being stuck there, he's like, yeah, I think I'm done being there for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably not the best time to be in the boondocks in the PR right now, is it?
No, it isn't. But you know, I know that the media makes it out to be really, really bad. But the truth is, my hometown has done a tremendous job of cleaning up and doing things on their own, because we are literally geographically centered, and we had 3 roads in or out of the city or town, and they were all washed out. And a lot of the people got together to at least make one passable so that people could come in with aid from Ponce. And but they have done a remarkable job. I mean, they had water going 2 days after Irma, and it was incredible. It is a testament to the fortitude of the people that live there.
Yeah, despite the corruption of their government, yes?
Yes. I think because they are so remote inside the mountains, they don't get affected by the corruption as much.
Right.
And they don't expect the government to come and dig them out, because it is so hard to go in and out. So
yeah, so they just know they have to do it themselves.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, my uncle was showing us pictures on Facebook about the decorations that are going on in town and everything. It's almost like, what hurricane? You know, they're not going to be living in the past. They're moving forward, and that's great.
I like that. Yeah, there's no sense in moping about it. You know, Houston's doing the same thing. You know, they're pushing so hard to put it behind them instead of dreading, you know how bad.
Very much so. Yeah.
Well, Aggie, we are getting close to the top of the hour. I want to thank you for coming on and sharing this with us. This is big fun. I love this whole idea. Neighborhood party, drinking, singing. Who knows what else might happen? Somebody could end up without pants on, but I would never call anybody's name or hint at anything like that specifically. But I'm just saying it could happen.
Well, in the age of smartphones, I'm hoping it does.
Oh, boom. Okay, well, I am going to leave that right there.
Just leave it.
I'm going to thank Aggie one more time for coming on, and everybody else. I want to thank Tiffany and Jennifer for also coming on and doing this little mini series with us. I know that Bella was going to come on, and we are very sorry she couldn't. But she had a very sick little one that she had to take care of. And I know Savannah was going to try to come on too, but I don't think we ever got a schedule synced up to make things happen with Savannah. But big fun, everybody. Great traditions. I love this whole segment thing. We're going to do this again next year, and we're going to start like the week of Thanksgiving. We're going to drag this out even longer and get more people into this.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed this. We're just going to have to do it more. That's all I know.
Sounds like a plan.
We're going to do it more. So anyway, as we get ready to bow out here, I know Rick probably owes some time on commercials due to the late start. We'll give him an extra minute here. Aggie, thank you so much for coming on. Your traditions are fantastic. And like I said, I would love to start one of those up and just, I'd turn the thing into a nationwide. I'd get on planes and take people on planes to go to more people. And, you can drink on the plane and you can drink when you get in the cab. And it's great. You can drink the whole way and just, you can sleep and then you can wake up and sing and drink some more. And yeah, why not? It sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And letting my ADD come through. But anyway, all right. Well, folks, we're going to wrap it up. It is that time of the night. Rick can run his long commercial break here and turn it over to Jesse for 2 hours of Jesse's POV coming up next. And I want to thank you folks. I was going to take next week off, but it turns out that I'm probably going to be doing some sitting in on another show. So stay tuned for an announcement on that. That means if I'm going to be around anyway, I'm going to do my show next week. So I will be here live unless something changes. Thank you. If you like the show, tell your friends. If your friends like the show, you need new ones. But they and you are welcome here every week with me on the Conservative Curmudgeon Show. Good night and God bless everybody.